Welcome to British Literature Survey. This is our course map here. So as you can see, we have a few different bubbles we are going to be taking a look at today, and we're going to start with our class objectives. So these are things that your students will hopefully know by the end of the course. The first one is literary analysis. Your students will be developing critical reading skills to interpret and analyze themes, motifs, and symbols in British literature. We'll identify literary devices like irony, metaphor, imagery, and we're going to be analyzing character motivations, development, and relationships within the historical and cultural context of the texts. They will definitely be working on their writing skills. They will be writing an essay each semester, along with some other smaller writing exercises, like writing their own sonnets. And along with all of this, from their study guides to their notes to everything in between, they will be writing full sentences with grammar, punctuation, capitalization, and all that jazz. Students will be working on their note-taking and study skills. It is so important that they don't just write random information, but things that they can use. And so I have a number of note sheets that they will have the opportunity to use as they are reading different books that they will then explicitly be able to use to pull for themes or character analysis or literary criticism for them to use when they're doing things like writing their essays. You cannot take a class like this without learning how to do some kind of research and historical context. So in the spring or in the fall semester, I give them a lot of that with historical podcasts and videos for them to watch. They'll do a little bit more on their own in the spring, but learning how to find good resources and applicable research is another skill we'll be learning. Presentation and communication skills. I've had so many students over the years who have never created a presentation or have never had to give a presentation. And so this is a really great and unique opportunity for them to be able to learn how to do that and to present well, both independently and in small groups and with peers. Reading. Most of your students are going to come in knowing how to read. However, we're going to be reading for interpretation and fluency. The type of English that Beowulf is not the same kind of English that Shakespeare is, not the same type of English that Austen is, not the same type of English as Lord of the Flies. And so they're going to be working on that fluency as they read, as well as just understanding the texts as a whole. And last, we will be also focusing on literary criticism, feminist, historical, formalist, and looking at them through a British text and being able to communicate that analysis and defend their interpretation of the text as well. This is super important, especially as we're talking about historical context. In some cases, we will be talking about feminists and other ones. And it's so fascinating to see how quickly the students understand literary criticism once we start putting language to it. Some more of the key skills that we'll be going over. Things like writing a standard 5-paragraph essay. I was a TA in college, and it always surprised us how many freshmen had never written more than a paragraph. So they will be working on the whole writing process, from taking useful notes to outlining with a clear thesis and main points. I teach them step by step how to format an MLA essay, including in-text citations and bibliography. For their essays, they always have a rough draft due before their final submission, and they swap with a peer to do the peer editing checklist, and they also have the self-editing checklist available to them, and then they get to submit their final copy. The second one, as I already kind of talked about, is presentations, and doing presentations using best practices and then presenting in front of peers using a natural rhythm, speed, and tone. Can I understand it? That kind of thing. And as I already kind of said, note-taking. It is so important that your students know how to take appropriate notes that are actually going to be useful for them when they're studying for the exam, when they are doing research for their presentation, when they are working on their essays. And it's not just highlighting every word on a page. We also have some serious reading skills that we'll be working on. I already, again, touched on literary criticism and using literary criticisms that students may not naturally lean towards or use to explore literature outside of their norm. So a great example of this is the moral. A lot of students don't necessarily even realize that they're pulling from that, but then once we talk about it, they go, oh yeah, when a character makes a decision that goes against what we would consider moral code today or in our culture, like I absolutely judge them. And so just having them make those connections as they're reading, identifying, explaining, and analyzing that text and being able to communicate it. We also do a lot of character analysis. Students will be able to select a character, give appropriate analysis of that character using examples from the story, and asking why when assessing a character's behavior and motives, which is a beautiful segue to reading between the lines. Literature is rarely just the black and white words on a page. Students will be able to identify and explain examples of literary devices like metaphor, allegory, and allusion, and they'll be able to look beyond the words of the page to determine plot movement, character development, and the intentionality of authorship. So this is a bit of administration housekeeping for you for the different units. Parents and students have access to the topic boards. Each unit has a topic board that will appear once we get to that unit. Each topic board contains a breakdown of the readings, which includes your page numbers, chapters, and last lines as they're applicable. In some cases, it will include copies of or downloads of the works we're using. All of those can also be found in your assignments then as well. And any resources you need for your assignments, the study guides, the note sheets, formal assignment descriptions and rubrics, video or podcast links, and discussion boards can all be found on the topic boards, but all of those resources are also going to be attached to your actual assignments as well. So you have at least 2 places to pull resources from in a unit. In each semester, along with regular homework and classwork, students will complete 4 core assignments: a presentation, a 5-paragraph essay, creative assignment, and exam. These core 4 are all worth 100 points, allowing your student to work on skills they may have never done before, while also having the opportunity to really excel in other areas. Students are encouraged to think out of the box using unique presentation methods and alternative resources like Legos, Minecraft, and Sculpture to fulfill assignment requirements. The week before exams or finals, we have class review where we go over every answer of the test. I promise. I usually reword the question, flip it around a bit, but the information on the test is reviewed the week before. Exams are closed book and closed note, but between studying and review, students have a very strong foundation for success. And what does the class look like? In our first semester, we're covering everything from Anglo-Saxon Beowulf to Shakespeare. In Beowulf, they'll have weekly readings and study guides, podcasts on historical content, and the formal presentation, Breaking News, which is such a fun project. Next, we read select stories from King Arthur, which I provide. Students complete correlating study guides, listen to historical context podcasts and respond, and the formal essay is assigned. For Canterbury Tales, students have a weekly reading. We read 3 different tales, and they have corresponding notes pages with a focus on theme. Students complete fun review activities in small groups in class to go over their weekly tale. So for example, with the Miller's Tale, I had students create memes that went along with the characterization, themes, or lessons of the tale, and it was so much fun. The kids had a blast, and they were hilarious because that tale is really funny. And we round out the semester with Shakespeare. Due to time constraints, we just don't quite have the time to do a full play, so we focus on the sonnets. They read 3 sonnets, and then they reflect and respond on them, identifying theme, tone, literary devices, and personal reflection. We also do a really fun class activity, Shakespeare or Song, where I have a list of different lines, and they get to determine if they think it's a Shakespeare line or song lyrics. Students are also challenged to write their own sonnet in iambic pentameter using one of the 3 sonnet rhyme schemes, Shakespearian, Petrarchan, or Spenserian. In the second semester, we cover Regency through more modern writings like Lord of the Flies. Students also get to choose a classic to read. We kick off with Pride and Prejudice, where they have 4 readings with corresponding study guides. They will be assigned their formal creative assignment for this unit. They will also have vocabulary, themes, and character charts. After that, we roll into a modest proposal where students will learn about the historical context of a modest proposal. They will read it and respond to a discussion board and complete an in-class group project. We move on to British Romanticism, where students will read works by Tennyson, Keats, Byron, and Yeats. Each week, they will respond with a focus on analysis, and we have some really fun in-class activities to go along with those as well. We will round out our semester for the most part with Lord of the Flies. Each week, students will be assigned a reading and study guide, just like our other readings. They will be writing a series of journal entries from the perspective of a character. And these journal entries will be blended with an interactive map presentation for students' formal presentation, very similar to this presentation here, actually. Throughout the semester, students will be choosing one of these British classics: Frankenstein, Heart of Darkness, Tess of the D'Urbervilles, or The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. While they are reading, they have 3 very explicit note sheets, a character sheet, a lit crit sheet, and a themes sheet. They, for their formal essay, will be writing on their choose your own novel here, and they will be doing a summary paragraph. They will be doing at least 3 analysis paragraphs, essentially 1 for character, 1 for lit crit, 1 for themes, and then their conclusion, which includes personal reflection. So I tell them the content that they need for that essay. They have their notes sheets so that they can use those for in-text citations and examples from the story they're reading. And they will also have time throughout the semester to meet with other students who are also reading the same book as them, to talk about their reading, to talk about their notes, and then we will actually wrap that up the last 2 weeks of the semester. They will be doing a group assignment to go along with their choose your own here. And last but not least, extra credit. Students have the opportunity to complete a few extra credit assignments. They get a fall extra credit assignment that is usually assigned in September and or October. That is due the Wednesday before Thanksgiving every year. We do not have classes. We do not necessarily have class that day, but I give them until that Wednesday to turn in that fall extra credit. They are then given a winter break extra credit that is to be completed over winter break and is due the very first day of spring classes. So technically the points go on the spring semester, but it is a winter break extra credit. They are then given a spring extra credit that is due usually around Easter. So they have 3 optional extra credit assignments that they can choose to do or not. Both semesters, they also have the opportunity to create a marketing video. It is 60 seconds or less, showcasing why they like the class, a favorite reading, or something of that nature. And what's really fun is we actually partner with True North's marketing department. And for ones that are really awesome, we really enjoy them. They did a great job on them. True North will actually post them. So that's just a really fun thing that students can also do for a few extra points. So this is our class overview. This is available for parents and students to see. And again, parents and students, you guys can see all of the topic boards for units as they come up. Parents and students can also see all assignments that are posted, but only student accounts can submit work. So parents, you have access to see everything your student does. You can download study guides, anything that's on the bulletin board or topic boards, just like your student can, but only your student can actually submit that work. You cannot do that from a parent account. So if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. I look forward to our school year, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.